I'm 10K in debt at 21, and I'm not saying that for shock value. I'm saying it because I made that decision fully aware of what it meant. For most people, debt is something that creeps up on them. It's car finance, credit cards, little decisions that add up over time. For me, this was intentional. And now I'm at the point where I can actually look at it properly and break down whether it made sense, and more importantly, what I'm doing about it. At the time, I knew I wanted to get into property, not just as an idea, but properly build something around it. And when you look at how most people approach it, the advice is always the same. Save up first, build a big buffer, wait until you're ready. But when I looked at that realistically, I realized something. If I followed that path, I'd probably be waiting for years just to get started. And in those years, I wouldn't just be saving money, I'd be losing time. So I made a decision. Instead of waiting until I felt comfortable, I went and paid for a mentor to speed the whole process up. And yeah, that meant going into debt. But in my head, I wasn't just taking on a liability. I was buying speed, knowledge, and access to someone already doing what I wanted to do. One thing I didn't fully explain either is how uncomfortable that decision actually was at the time. Because it's easy to sit here now and say, yeah, I chose it, it made sense. But when you're actually about to press that payment and you know you're committing yourself to 10K of debt, it doesn't feel like a smart financial move. It feels like you're taking a risk. I remember sitting there thinking, what if I'm just being impatient? What if I'm trying to rush something that I should take slower? What if this doesn't work? And if I've just made things harder for myself? And the truth is, you don't get certainty in that moment. There's no confirmation that you're doing the right thing. You just have a direction, and you've got to back yourself. And I think that's the part people don't talk about enough. I think people underestimate just how much time costs. Let's say it takes you 2 to 3 years to figure something out on your own. That's 2 to 3 years where you're not earning from it, not learning at the same level, and not building momentum. So for me, the trade was simple. Stay comfortable and slow, or take on some risk and move faster. And I chose speed. Now that doesn't guarantee success, but it puts you in the game quicker. Fast forward to now, the business has hit break even, and I don't think people realize how important that moment is. Before break even, everything feels like output with no return. Time goes in, money goes in, energy goes in, and you're constantly questioning whether it's working. But once you hit break even if you're not making profit yet, something shifts mentally, because now the business is supporting itself. And that changed the whole situation from this might not work to this is actually functioning. But this is where I had to be honest with myself, because even though the business is working, the debt is still there. And more importantly, it still costs me more money every month. Debt isn't just a number you owe, it's a fixed cost. And fixed costs are dangerous if you ignore them, because they don't care whether you're having a good month or a bad one. They're always there. And there's another side to debt that doesn't really get talked about, which is the mental side of it. Even if you've made a calculated decision, owing money still sits in the back of your mind. It's not like constant stress, but it's always there. You're aware of it when you check your accounts. You think about it when you're making decisions. It becomes part of how you move. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not something you want hanging over you forever. Because even when things are going well, there's still that underlying thought of, I need to deal with this. And that's a big reason why I'm taking it seriously now. This is the part that really changed my thinking. If you've got 10K in debt at, say, 10% interest, that's costing you 1K a year, guaranteed, no matter what you do. Now compare that to investing. Historically, something like the S&P 500 averages 7 to 10% annually over long periods, but that's over decades. In the short term, it can go up 20% or even drop 20%. So if I choose to invest instead of paying off that debt, I'm taking on risk, while also accepting a guaranteed loss. And when you look at it like that, the decision becomes clearer. Paying off debt is effectively a guaranteed return, and there aren't many places you can get guaranteed returns in finance. So, this is how I'm actually handling my debt, and I've thought about this quite carefully, because I don't want to go too extreme in either direction. Firstly, my investing hasn't changed. I'm still investing every month, not because it's the most optimal move mathematically in the short term, but because consistency matters. If you stop investing completely, it becomes very hard to start again. So I'm protecting that habit. Secondly, my emergency fund contributions have dropped. I was putting in £150 a month, now it's £50. Because once you hit your target, you're maintaining, not building. And that frees up capital. And lastly, all extra income goes to debt, delivery shifts, side money, anything outside my main income goes straight into paying it down. And this is something people overlook. Your emergency fund isn't based on your income, it's based on your expenses. So if your expenses are $1,500 a month, you might need 4.5 to 9K saved. But if you reduce your expenses by clearing debt, that number drops. So paying off debt doesn't just remove a liability, it strengthens your financial position overall. Personally, I like to keep about 3 to 6 months of emergency fund saved. This covers anything from rent, car repayments, car repairs, or moving house. Right now, I'm focusing on my 3.5K loan first, the smallest one. This is called the debt snowball method. You clear the smallest balances first to build momentum. There's also the avalanche method, where you target the highest interest debt first, which is mathematically better. But for me, consistency matters more than perfection. Quick wins keep you locked in. And I think this is where people tend to go wrong. They go all in on one extreme. They either say, right, I'm stopping everything and just attacking the debt. Or they go the other way and say, I'll ignore it and just focus on investing. And both of these approaches have downsides. If I went all in on the debt, I'd stop investing completely, which sounds logical, but also means breaking a habit I've been building. And once that habit goes, it's actually quite hard to get it back. On the flip side, if I ignore the debt completely, I'm just accepting the interest and limiting my flexibility. So for me, this middle approach makes the most sense. I keep investing, I reduce what I don't need to overfund, and I aggressively attack the debt with anything extra. That way, I'm not sacrificing my future, but I'm also not ignoring my current situation. The biggest benefit of clearing debt isn't just saving interest, it's protection. Debt increases your fixed costs, and high fixed costs reduce your ability to take risks. If I lose my job tomorrow, my situation is very different with debt versus without it. Low expenses equals more time to react, more flexibility, more options, and that's what I'm actually really building towards. And this is the part people will question. Why not just stop investing completely? Because investing isn't just about returns, it's about behavior. If you build the habit of investing consistently, that compounds over time. And missing time in the market is one of the biggest mistakes people make, so I'm balancing both. Once this debt is gone, everything improves. More monthly cash flow, more capital to invest, more money to put into the business. And this is where compounding really starts to matter, because now you've removed that drag. At this point, it's not about recovery anymore. It's about acceleration. The same money that was going into debt now goes into assets. So yeah, I'm 10K in debt at 21, but I understand why I did it. And more importantly, I understand how I'm managing it. And that's what separates good debt decisions from bad ones. If you're in a similar situation or thinking about making a move like this, drop a comment. And if you want to follow this properly as I pay it down and build things out, subscribe. I'll be documenting the whole process.